Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
By the way, can we talk about your newest video, Dream?
Yes, we can.
What did you think of it? How did you feel about it?
Dream do the leap of faith. H has done it before.
It was really good. I liked it. I think it's interesting. It's different. I feel like one of the main things I love about Manhunt, and I think makes it so fun for me to edit and so fun to record and stuff, is that it's so it's so strategical. And I feel like in Hitman, it wasn't really strategic. It was strategical, but
it wasn't like you had to be cheeky. You just had to survive. You didn't have to like come up with like interesting ways of killing them, catching them off guard.
The extra scenes, but it really was just like you take the first 5 minutes of a manhunt and then extend it for an hour. That was like pretty much what it was.
True,
which is really cool, and obviously people seem to really love it. But
I was gonna say sometimes that's like the best part of Manhunt is just the beginning part and like how you're gonna end up surviving.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting because I think different people like love different aspects of like Manhunt, and so I feel like for people who love that intensity of the intense moments when like I'm on half a heart or low, probably love Hitman like even more than Manhunt. And then people who are who enjoy like the comedy and like the kind of the story and the arc that Manhunt has, because you kind of follows this general story. You have to go to the Nether, and then you have to go to the end. You have to collect the Ender pearls. You have to kill the dragon. And there's kind of like a general story arc to every Manhunt. I think people that kind of really enjoy that like storytelling kind of aspect of Manhunt wouldn't necessarily like Hitman as much. And so I feel like also, and then there's kind of like the third group of people who just like love seeing like me, Bad, and Sapnap and Ant just all interact and comedy, like it's kind of the comedy aspect where we meme around and make jokes. And so I feel like those two groups probably didn't like Hitman as much as Manhunt, and then the one group that really likes the intense action probably loved Hitman. And so I feel like it's one of those things where I want to find another kind of type of video that includes all three aspects so everyone's happy.
You said you had other ideas, like I think it was during the extra scenes that you wanted to do, or like you could come up with. Do you have like anything you could spoil or no? By the way, like if you haven't figured this out, I've told you this many times. Your content is the best stuff on YouTube, like by far. The freaking newest video, I couldn't decide if I liked it more than Manhunt or not. It was drastically different, but also felt like very the same, like in a good way. Like I think the main thing that makes those videos good is showing off your creativity, your skills to adapt, and also the banter between you and the 3 or 4 other people, which is Bad, George, Sapnap.
I feel like a good thing about this one was I feel like this one came more down to like raw skill. Like there were so many parts where like that people don't even really talk about that in the video, where I was like, holy cow, like if I just played that a little bit worse, I would have been dead. Like when I jumped across and placed a block below me, like when I knocked George off stuff, like there's just little moments where like it was real. I feel like it was really just like a testament to like skill and trying to outskill them and run away and just be slightly better than him. So I'm just slightly ahead of them the whole time. But in Manhunt, I feel like it has that too. I feel like just Manhunt's so unique in that there's so many. I feel like every time because there's it's such a long. It's not even just an hour. It's like it's like 4 hours or less, but depending on what goes on. And I have an objective, so I have to get something done. So there's always this like I have to have 5, 6, 7 strategies that I come up with. And I mean, and like with my strategies, the funny thing is also because I know they browse my Reddit and they'll even send me posts. Well, we know about this post. Like they'll like send me a post and be like, well, you're probably planning on doing this. Like, haha, you can't do this now. And so like I'll sit there in a survival world for like hours and hours. Like I'm not like I probably spend like 20 hours plus like at least brainstorming in like the few days before Manhunt, like in a survival world, sitting there going over all my options, like what can I do, what can I use, what's something that hasn't been mentioned on the Reddit, that way like they aren't going to see it coming, what can I surprise them with, things like that. And also one of the things I always think about too is like what will surprise the viewer as well, like that'll be kind of unexpected, that way it's kind of a something new. One thing I like doing in the Manhunts is like what's a mechanic that is underused that most Minecraft players don't know about, and how can I use it for a trap, or how can I use it for an escape, or how can I use it for something like that. So
I just found the stronghold. Oh.
Yeah, I think Eric found it one time in the ocean. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go see if I can find the library really quick. I want to loot the books. What has been like one thing from vanilla Minecraft that you've not been able to utilize that you really wanted to? Like you said, you like browse.
There's one thing I can't say because I'm going
You're
to
gonna
try
do?
and use it in the next one. But I think there's so many different mechanics that I've wanted to use that most of them. There's so many things that I'm just like waiting for something to happen and I'll be able to do it. But there's certain things like as an example, the Frostwalker thing. I had that idea, like, so I didn't just come up with that on the spot. Like I had that idea before, but
Really?
I had it like back like originally. Like, because when I was going through everything, I'm like, what? Because one of the things I did, I was like, okay, what's every enchantment that I could possibly use, like in a trap or to escape? And one of them, well, Frostwalker is such a unique enchantment that it just stands out. Like it's just so obvious. Like Frostwalker, that's so obvious. I didn't think about like, oh, I'll tower over a lake or anything like that. But I did think like, oh, I could use it like for ice, like to cover water. Like that's so easy. But then I'm like, nah, I'll never get it. And then it's like, you get it,
yeah,
eventually. Because when you're playing these, like, even if every time I'm looting so many things every manhunt that like I'm bound to eventually get every achievement. Like I'm not every achievement, every enchantment. So like at some point,
you do such a good job of debating them entirely that it's kind of impressive and scary at the same time. Because, like, you're just, like, towering, and they're like, why is he doing this? And then all of a sudden you jump down, like, oh, he's an idiot. But then all of a sudden you place blocks, like, with the Frostwalker, and then you die. My favorite bit from your most recent one, what was it called? It's not Manhunt. What's the newest video you just posted? What are you calling that series? Hitman. Was when Sapnap was behind you, and you jump off of one of the dark oak forest trees, and you just place blocks on the water, and he falls on it. And then George comes like a minute later and does the same thing.
Yeah, well, I did that like a couple times. So there was the first time I did it was like Bad was like right on my tail, and like I jumped down in the water, and I realized like, oh, if I'm on like 3 hearts, and if he jumps down in the water, then he's gonna be able to just hit me, and I'm dead. So I like placed the blocks behind me, and then I ran, and he hit the blocks. So then it was like he hesitated, and so it just like saved my life. And I was sitting there like, you'd probably have to watch back that part and realize like, oh, that's why he did that. Like I wouldn't have usually even done it, but then after I did it once, I was like, the next time it just made me think of it. I was like, oh, well, I could just do this again. It's kind of funny. Like they're gonna hit it and take some damage, but
would you
was, in Hitman I couldn't get it, like, because they can see me through the wall. It's different than like in Manhunt. I didn't even realize this actually. I thought it'd be so much easier than like Hitman would be so much easier than it was. I'm like, oh, I get away in the Manhunts like not easily, but like once I get food, I can just run forever. Like it's not like that hard for me. But I didn't realize how much harder when they can see you through walls it makes it, because they can just cut corners and stuff. Like if you make a turn, like they can just take the perfect route to get to where you went, instead of like following your route. They can just take the perfect route to get to where you went.
Wait,
they know exactly where you go.
They had like they could see you like with the like. Do they have, like the spectral thing or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I was thinking that they had a compass the entire time. I totally forgot that was a thing.
They had a compass too. They had both of them. Yeah. So they had compass and they had that. So.
You like making. You're a little psychopath. You like making it hard on yourself.
Well, I just thought it wouldn't be as interesting if they couldn't see me through walls, because then it'd become like hide and seek sort of, and I'm like, that's not as interesting as like.
True.
They're constantly on my tail. I didn't think like I wouldn't be able to mine a single piece of iron the entire time. Like I didn't think it would be that. That tough. Like I thought it'd be.
Well, yeah. If you like went underground, you were just dead.
Yeah, I would, because they could just see me through the walls. So there's nowhere I could. There's nothing I could really do.
Yeah, because in like Manhunt, you're able to like hide in like netherrack or walls or whatever and get around cheekily. But this one, there's no chance of that because they could just mine right to you.
Yeah, and then also in the one thing I couldn't do that I couldn't do in Hitman that I always do in the Manhunts is like I just would hit a border, so I'd have to turn around. So in the Manhunts, I would have just kept running, and so then I run far enough away, kill them, and then like I have enough time to get resources because they're far away and they have to come all the way back. Whereas like in this one, even when I would kill them all, or I don't think I ever really killed. I didn't never kill all of them, but every time I would kill like 2 of them, it'd be 1 minute until they'd be back, because it was a 500 by 500 world. So it's like it made it. I mean, it's so interesting. But yeah, your original question was like about like other concepts. Like I thought like I was trying to think like there's different like I guess showcasing like my different skills and trying to use them in terms of videos. Like I know that I'm pretty good at like running. So I was thinking like maybe some kind of relay race or something would be kind of cool. I'm just thinking that there's probably a lot of ideas that can be done in the kind of like Manhunt style where it's like epic and I'm like kind of at a disadvantage, you know. So it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of like I'm like an underdog, and then I feel like that's really entertaining to watch. Everyone wants to watch like an underdog, even if you lose. Like it's just cool to see you try to do something that seems impossible or seems super hard.
Yeah, because theoretically, you should not be able to kill the Ender Dragon with 3 people chasing after you, but you somehow managed to pull it off. Like, it's like, if you just think about that, that is mind-blowing on its own, because these guys aren't noobs either. Well, now it's like up to 4 players. It's Sapnap, George, Bad, and Ant.
I'll let you in on a little secret.
Oh.
So for every new person that's added, like, it's not that big of a difference. Like, I mean, this is me being completely honest. Like, I feel like after 3, like 4 is like so unnoticeable of a difference. Like 2 to 3 was a big difference.
Yeah.
And 1 to 2 was a huge difference. But 3 to 4, like it may even be like slightly easier. Like I guess technically not, but like in some cases it is. Like there's more chaos, there's more confusion. They have to be more organized. They get in the way of each other. They do damage to each other, things like that. So it's like it's honestly, like, if I'm being honest, it's not as much harder as it would seem. I feel like there's certain I feel like at the beginning, like jumping from 1 to 2 is big, 2 to 3 is like smaller, 3 to 4 is smaller. But I feel like you'd have to start jumping 2 to get the same effect like as you got from jumping from like 2 to 3.
True,
because
I think that's something that made it much harder on you. In the most recent one wasn't the fact that the most recent Manhunt wasn't the fact that it was one more hunter. It was the fact that you were in 1.16.3. Because I messaged you right after I watched it. I was like, how the hell did you get so many Ender Pearls? Because that would take like hours in 1.6.3 or 0.2, whichever one you were doing, because of the piglin trading.
Yeah, I think it took like 40 something minutes or something. Like I went back and was looking at it because I think somebody asked, and I think it took like 42 minutes or something for me to do it. And I was just straight getting tons of gold. I got a lot of gold from the fortress too, like from the fortress chest. But it was just straight, like, I think it was 42 minutes. I'm like, that's ridiculous for trade. Like, I might as well have just been killing Enderman. Like, I probably could have gotten a decent amount from killing Enderman in that time period.
And it's not just like, oh, it took that long, but that amount of free time that the hunters had was what allowed them to get like insane armor. So it put you back like a mile and a half.
And they told me they had that plan to get, like prot armor before, but that like they never really like saw a good opportunity. And I'm guessing probably because it was 1.16.3, they probably saw it on this one like, oh well, he's gonna be able to
he can't high roll
the nether.
He can't high roll the trades anymore.
Just get the pearls real quickly and get out. It's like he's gonna be in there for a while. And I was getting unlucky. I mean, I feel like I dropped so much gold on them. And I know the rates are like trash too, but like I was just in the nether for so long, and I at one point I lost my piglin. I dropped like a lot of gold on a piglin, and then I lost it. And it was very, very annoying. I think I sped up like part of it on my second channel and like showed it, and it was just like me running around the nether for 20 minutes. But yeah, I feel like the next one will be interesting. But like going back to like the Frostwalker, like I feel like it's one of those things where like the only reason I was able to do that crap was because I had messed around with it before, because I knew, hey, I have to get up on a block and like walk. And when I initially was like, oh, I could use Frostwalker at some point like in a manhunt, and that was like when I like first was like probably 6 manhunts ago or something. And I was messing around with like all the different enchantment stuff. So I feel like having that knowledge about having like the practice where I'm going through and just preparing myself from every scenario. Like, okay, in a scenario where I get this enchantment, like I loot a desert temple and I have this enchanted book. Here's what I can use it for. These 15 different scenarios and traps and everything. And I feel like that's something where it gives me a huge advantage, because then I get put in those situations where I do finally get it. I think that's the only one Frostwalker where I got an enchantment. I think there's 2 other enchantments that I have like plans for if I were to ever get them, that I have not gotten in a manhunt yet. But I think it's something where it happened, and I didn't even. I was surprised. I didn't even realize I had it at first, and like later on I realized I had it, and I was like, oh god.
You hovered over and it was like, oh, okay.
I think I was walking over like a river and ice just spawned, and I was like, what the hell? And then I hovered over it and was like, what?
I think the most broken thing you get as like in Manhunt or even in the God, I keep Hitman, would probably be Depth Strider. If you're able to get depth strike at 3 or something like that.
That'd be so OP. I mean, I would be able to. I mean, they wouldn't be able to catch me. Like I'd just be
Yeah.
shooting away in the dolphins. To be fair, I don't know how much. Like something that I realized like early on is that because they have 3 or 4. The one thing that is a decent amount different between 3 and 4 people is that when they do need to collect resources, they can get them so much quicker.
Yep.
But that doesn't matter for like armor and stuff because you still need the same amount per person. But it does matter for like filling in like an ender, like it's filling in the ender eyes and stuff like that, or like potions or things like that, because you just need, like, if you get 1 potion, you get 3 potions from one, brewing 1 thing. And like if you go to the end portal, you only need 12 no matter what, even if you add 5 people, 6 people, 7 people. So it's like certain things like that become so much harder for me. And so in this case, like one of the things I thought about doing in the last man, I was like, oh, I can just go on like the nether roof and travel, like nether travel to like a far away end portal. But then I just quickly realized, like, first of all, the end portals connect to the end. So all it would take is just they realize, oh, he's traveling. Okay, let's just go to the end. They'd probably get to the end before me, trap the end portal, and I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just realized, like, no, I can't do that. I have to get rid of them. Like, I can't. If I travel, they'll just beat me there because they're faster and better, in terms of like they have 4 people, and then they'll have all these collected eyes. And even if I went out on the nether roof, like I'd be far enough away where it'd take me quite a bit to get to like the closest stronghold. And then even though it's a different stronghold, like it leads to the same end, so I'd just be screwed.
Yeah, another one of my favorite things that